Hello guys, it's Katie and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm sharing with you guys what I think are the best yarns for beginner crocheters to start out with. So this video is based off of my opinions, so if you learned with a different type of yarn or you think a different type of yarn is better, that's completely fine. This is just my kind of advice based off of when I was learning to crochet and based off of teaching other people to crochet as well. So before I get into this, I just want to address the fact that I am a little bit sunburnt as I'm filming this. I'm completely fine. By the time you guys are seeing this, it's probably been like a month since filming. But this is a video idea I just thought of and I wanted to film it for you guys, sunburnt and all. But anyways, with that, let's just get straight into this video. So I do have a couple different types of yarn and I'm going to save the ones that I think are best for last, and I'm going to give you the reasons why I think all of these are good, but I will give you a couple reasons why maybe in certain situations you wouldn't want to use these. So my first idea for a good yarn for beginner crocheters is Bernat Blanket. Now I have the Ogo version here just because this is what I had closest to me, so that's what I'm sharing in this video. Ogo yarns might even be really good for beginners because of the tangle free nature of these yarns. I think they are a couple cents more expensive than the regular skein, but if you're willing to pay a couple cents more, then maybe you could try this out. But either way, just Bernat Blanket in general is what I'm talking about. And here is why I think this is a good yarn to start out with. So first off, a lot of beginner projects are things like blankets and just projects that are really straightforward, maybe even scarves, things like that. And a yarn like Bernat Blanket that is really soft but also a thicker yarn weight is going to be better, in my opinion, for beginners. Because as a beginner, if you're making something like a blanket and you're using a really thin yarn, it's going to take you a lot longer than if you're using a thicker yarn. And from my experience, as well as from teaching other people to crochet, I find that you will get discouraged if you're trying to make something like a blanket and using a really thin yarn, just because of the amount of time it's taking. So in my experience, if you're going to make a blanket or like a bigger project, I think Bernat Blanket is a good way to go. But do just keep in mind, it does take an adjustment to use a thicker yarn and a bigger hook, because again, if you're using a thicker yarn, you're going to have to use a bigger hook, and it does just take an adjustment, especially if you started on a thinner yarn. Now, something that I will mention to you guys right now is that a couple months back I did do a video explaining yarn weight and different yarn types. So if you are a beginner watching this video, those may also be good videos for you to watch, just so you know more so of what I am meaning when I say things like yarn weight and I say the names of different types of yarn, like this is polyester yarn, you know what I mean? So if you do want to check those out, I'll leave them linked below in case there is some confusion on things that I'm saying. And this yarn is not too expensive. This is the most expensive one that we're going to talk about. The regular skeins retail for about $11.99 at Michael's and Joann. They may be a little bit cheaper at Walmart, I'm not exactly sure on that. And on Amazon, things differ depending on which listing you buy them from. But generally, $11.99 is the price for the kind of more average size skeins of Bernat Blanket. But they do have a lot of sales, so you may end up paying like $6.99 or $7.99 at some points in the year as well. So just throwing that out there. But now moving on to our next type of yarn, which from now on I'm kind of doing categories instead of just different brands, because I know that you're only going to be able to find certain brands at certain stores. So I'll tell you where you can find all of these depending on what store you're shopping at. So my next kind of category is cotton yarns. So right here I have the Lily Sugar and Cream cotton yarn. This you can find at Michael's and Joann primarily, but they do sell it on Amazon and things like that as well. And right here I have the Peaches and Cream cotton yarn. This is primarily at Walmart, but again, another one you can find in some other places as well. Other cotton yarns that I think would still be good for beginners are the Mainstays 100% cotton yarn. That is at Walmart. Mainstays is Walmart's brand. Or the I Love This Cotton, which is a 100% cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. So that gives you a lot of options for a lot of different stores if you are looking to start out with cotton yarn. Now the reason why I think cotton is good for a beginner, first off, cotton is used a lot for things like dishcloths, which I think a dishcloth is the most simple and easy beginner project you could do. Like most people that I teach to crochet, I have them start out with a dishcloth unless they're like completely against the idea of making a dishcloth. But most people I have start out with a dishcloth because it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't take too long to make. All of that kind of stuff makes it like the perfect beginner project in my opinion. And you're going to want to use 100% cotton or close to 100% cotton yarns for things like dishcloths, just because you are washing them so often. So that is my main top reason for cotton yarns as a beginner. And with 100% cotton, like I said earlier, there's so many different stores and there are a lot of different color options as well. So I do feel like you're going to find something you like and something you want to use. And again, dishcloths are just such a easy, simple beginner project that I feel like is great to start out with. So if you are a beginner and you're looking for your first project or one of your first projects, I do feel like a cotton yarn would be good for you, and just a simple dishcloth pattern. If you just Google beginner crochet dishcloth pattern, you should be able to find one that is really simple, like all the same stitch, all that kind of stuff, and that should be probably the best thing to start out with as a beginner in my opinion. Alright, my next category is also the last, but there's a lot within this category. So anyways, I have acrylic yarns as my next one, or it can be kind of blends. It does not have to be 100% acrylic, but the examples I do have to show you are 100% acrylic. One go-to that I feel like is really good is the Big Twist Value yarn, which you can find at Joann, and these are fairly cheap, easy to find. If you're at Joann, they always have these. They have a lot of different color options, so you're going to find something you like. And this yarn weight is something that I feel like is really good for beginners to get used to. So this is a good solid option for a lot of different projects. You could make a scarf, you could make a blanket. It would just take a lot longer than something like Burnette blanket, but you could. There's a lot of different projects that beginners can make with a plain just 100% acrylic yarn. And if you are a beginner, you may not be familiar with what this term means, but on yarns there is what's called a center pull on some yarns. Some yarns do not have this, but all the ones I'm mentioning here with you guys and a lot of the kind of basic acrylic yarns will have a center pull, which for beginners I feel like is so simple. You don't even have to take the tag off of your yarn. You can just start working right from here and pulling your yarn out like this as you are working, and it works out really great. There are certain yarns you don't want to use a center pull for, so if the end is not already sticking out when you see the yarn in the store, I would not recommend trying to find a center pull. But if there is already a little end sticking out like this or like this, then your yarn has a center pull, and you can pull directly from the center to start working, which as a beginner I feel like is really convenient. The next yarn, which I already kind of showed you, is Red Heart Super Saver. This is the yarn that I learned to crochet on, the yarn that my grandma sweared by, like did not use any other yarn. This yarn you can find almost anywhere. Walmart, Amazon, Joann, Michaels, so many different stores have this yarn, and there's so many different color varieties. So this has been my favorite yarn since I started crocheting. I learned to crochet on this yarn, so it is a really good basic, and kind of the same reasonings for this. You have a center pull, you have the yarn weight that is kind of average, so you can make a lot of different things. All of this kind of stuff is a recurring theme for all of the next yarns I'm going to show you. The main reason that I'm just showing you different ones is so you get ideas of different places you can purchase yarns as well. So next, I do have a Hobby Lobby yarn to show you guys, which is the I Love This yarn. This is again from Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is a little more pricey than a lot of the other stores, so if you're a beginner it may not be the best for you, especially if you don't want to invest in yarn and if you're not sure if you want to continue with crocheting, because as a beginner you don't want to buy a bunch thinking you're going to crochet and then you end up not even liking crocheting. That would be a really bad situation to be in. Anyways, this is a really good option for how soft it is, for the center pull, kind of all the same reasons as the other yarns we just talked about, except it is a little more pricey. This is $4.99. This is normally $3.99 at Michaels and Joann's, sometimes cheaper at Walmart, a lot of times on sale as well. I've purchased this for like $2.50 on different sales at Joann, but I've also purchased it for like the $4.59 or whatever the regular price is. But still, this is the most expensive 100% acrylic yarn that is kind of comparable to all of these. But at Hobby Lobby you do have a ton of color options in this, the most color options you'll ever see in pretty much any yarn. So that is like the main reason why Hobby Lobby charges a lot more. But also Hobby Lobby has 30% off all yarn every other week, and when that's the case, this yarn does end up being cheaper than some of the other ones. So I would also look online before you even go to Hobby Lobby to make sure that the yarn is 30% off that week before you actually make the trip over there. But anyways, I do have one more yarn to share with you, which this is the Michaels brand of yarn. So this is Smart Craft Value. This one is particularly the multi because it is multicolored, and I've obviously used this skein of yarn because of how little there is, but this is just an example one that I had around me to show you guys. This type of yarn is again 100% acrylic. Again, a lot of the same reasons for why any of these are good. It's just another option for if you have Michaels closer to you than you do Joann or Hobby Lobby or Walmart or something like that. So out of all of these, I think I would suggest Red Heart the most, just because it normally is the cheapest and you can find it at Walmart. Most people have Walmarts closer to them than they do Michaels or Joann or Hobby Lobby. But in the event that you do have one of these craft stores closer to you, then these are great options as well for beginner yarns. Alright y'all, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and I hope it was helpful to kind of hear some reasons why these yarns are good for beginners, as well as if you are a beginner, hopefully this inspired you to maybe go out and look at some yarns and see what type of projects you want to make, all that kind of stuff. Also you guys, in most Dollar Trees they have yarns. I didn't really mention any of that in this video because I do find that their skeins of yarn are really small and the price of $1.25 is more expensive for the yardage you're getting than a lot of yarns you're going to find at like Walmart or Amazon. But if you do have a Dollar Tree close to you and you want like really small skeins of yarn just to try out crocheting, Dollar Tree could be a good option as well. Just wanted to put that out there because I didn't mention any of Dollar Tree's yarns in this video. There is like Just Cotton, which is at Dollar Tree. There's Just Yarn, which is their acrylic one, that's also at Dollar Tree. So those could be good to start out with as well if you are already at Dollar Tree or something like that. So I will leave links in the description box below for all of these yarns for you guys in case you are interested in purchasing any of these. And I know I also didn't tell you the color names of the ones I was showing in this video and all of that. So in case you are interested in that information as well, I will also leave that below. But with all of that, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see more from me, you can always check out more videos of mine, my blog, my Etsy shop, my podcast, all of my social medias, my vlog channel. All of that is always included in the description box down below for you guys. And with all of that, thank you so much for watching. I will see you here on Mondays and Fridays and Sundays for yarn sales, sometimes Thursdays for yarn sales as well, and on Wednesdays on my vlog channel. Goodbye!